guys, it's me. So there might not be much movement with me today since Saturday. It's now Wednesday. I've had a bad neck. I'm here today to review Munch's Oddysee on the mobile. It's just in the Play Store. I don't know. Don't ask me. Yeah, you can get it for your mobile and things, and I assume tablet and stuff like that. So we're going to talk about it today because I've had neck problems for a while now, and it's really making me miserable. So I'm going to talk about a game. The controls. So they work quite well. There's a button at the top of the screen which allows you to go from walk to run to sneak. This is quite useful and it's always on this. You go into the next area and it's on what you've already had it previously set on. You save it and load and it's still saved on what you've had it set on. It doesn't reset, and I like this because I don't like it when you have to keep resetting an option. I just think have a memory. I obviously like this option, please keep it. So I had it on walk most of the time because there's an X button sort of down the bottom right, and if you walk and hold the X button you can run. So I was walking, had the safety of walking, because this game, it's like he's got a torpedo up his ass when he runs. Seriously, it's so fast, and there's so many little ledges, skinny little ledges that you have to get across. So I completed it with just losing 2 fuzzles. I hate losing anything in an Abe game. I really try to save everybody. The bad ending in this game is absolutely just awful. The bad ending in Munch's Oddysee, it's just another level of just fucked up. It's another level of horror of fucked up. It just makes you feel awful. But 2 fuzzles got killed because the controls are still questionably good on this game. There's parts where you're having to release the fuzzles when there's like guys walking around, and you have to kind of use zap to kind of help the fuzzles, but this is quite hard because the bad guys get zapped and then they fall onto the floor in a kind of unpredictable pattern. Like they kind of just fall where they want to fall, and when there's 2 of them hitting at the fuzzles and you're trying to get to each enemy, because you zap one enemy, they go down, and you can zap another enemy and they go down. You kind of do that, zap down, zap down, zap down, but it's quite hard when they fall around unpredictably. So I did lose 2 fuzzles, which is really sad, but I really tried my best. There's a point later where it's so incredibly difficult to fucking well save all the fuzzles because the controls on the phone are just not as easy as they are on the controller. I just don't think you can press buttons as efficiently and fast as you can on a controller. With your thumb on a phone, I just don't think it's as efficient as a controller. So yes, there's buttons at the top. There's a button to pause, basically. I think to pause, to bring up the menu, to quick save it, to quick load, all that jazz that you get in a menu. And the button to allow Abe and Munch to do different activities, not activities like go sit on a beach and drink a margarita. I don't mean that, I mean like walk, sneak and run. These 2 buttons are very fucking hard to press. They're right at the top of the screen, and I've been pressing start or pause with my thumb several times. I've seen my thumb making contact with the button, and I've even gone to this finger, and that's when you know it's not working, when you go to this finger and you're like hammering the button like this. And it really was very difficult to press this button, and I want to quick save all the time here because it's a hard game. It's very fucking hard. In the end, I realised I accidentally dragged down the screen. No, you drag down top of your screen and all the like the things you have up in the background just come up and everything, and the time's there. You know what it is. You know, fucking own a phone. I did this by accident and realised that it paused the game. So I just did that. I just dragged at the top of the screen down just briefly so it would pause it. So this is my advice to you, because it just doesn't fucking work. These buttons at the top of the screen, I just couldn't press them about 95% of the time. It just wouldn't work. I just couldn't do it. I found the buttons at the bottom. There's like attack, talk, jump, chant as well. Pressing X to chant. This is the one that you press to be able to run when you're walking, but it makes you chant basically. These buttons are so difficult to press individually. Most of the time I'd be running and I'd go to jump and I'd attack by accident, and Abe would slap This was annoying when you wanted to make a jump and you're about to make a jump and he slaps the air. It's so fucking annoying. Another thing is I beat up a few Madokans because I was trying to do something next to them. I was trying to pick them up. Picking them up is really fucking hard. It was hard on the console. It's hard on the mobile. Picking up a Madokan is really, really fucking hard. It's a challenge on its own. You should get an achievement every time you manage to pick up a Madokan successfully. I'd be trying to pick them up and he would walk over to them and slap them in the face. So fuck off. The attack is very fucking easy to hit in this. The chant button, obviously, as soon as you press the chant button when you're possessing a slig or something, it makes them explode. Literally as soon as you do it. You don't get a chance like you do in the originals where you have to chant for a little while before they explode. The minute you hit the X button, they blow up. And the X button and the reticle symbol look quite similar. The amount of times I would go to press shoot and I accidentally pressed the X button and I'd lose my slig, and it was alright because I probably quick saved it just before anyway, you know what I'm fucking like. It's just a bit inconvenient. I wish you got a little bit of time, like you had to hold it for like 2 to 3 seconds before they actually do blow up. But yeah, you press it and yeah, they blow up, so I lost a lot of sligs. Needless to say. Yeah. So I found the talking quite easy in this. I found when I played New and Tasty on the mobile, the speaking, I found it just a little bit too much to take in. But this is quite easy. You press the speech icon. Now this is quite easy until you want to call one Madokan. I just call them all because it's just fucking easier. It's at the very bottom of the screen. It seems that if there's a button near the top of the bottom of the screen, they don't seem to want to press very easily. So it was just incredibly hard just getting one Madokan. And if your back's to them, it doesn't contact them anyway. It's like, I'm not talking to you because you've got your back to me. It's rude. But no. Just select call all because it's just fucking easier. Holy shit. 1, it's easier to press. 2, even if you got your back to them, Madokan, they come, you know? They're not fussy. There was a lot of crashing in this game. I managed to deal with it, but at one point I didn't think I was going to be able to continue the game because it was just crashing and I needed to be able to do it. So it crashed during chanting. On 3 different levels it crashed during chanting. I was just down a corridor and the first time it crashed was on Magog Motors, and it's the first, you go up there and then there's a corridor to the left and there's a couple of sligs down there. This is where it didn't like my chanting orb, because I chant, get an orb, go down the corridor to get them, and it would just crash. It would just leave. The game would just close. I'd have to start again. And it was exactly the same spot. Every time I chanted and took the orb down, it just crashed. The game just closed. So it was an issue. If this one particular spot, notice this, it just kept closing the game. It kept crashing. So what I did was walk further down the corridor and then chant, and it was fine. So this part was particularly buggy. There's also a part where I was possessing a guy with guns. I didn't need to. I was a bit confused what to do. I couldn't remember. I was possessing a guy with guns and it would crash there just once, but still crashed there. It also crashed on Flub Fuel Scrub Pens. That sounds like I'm saying it completely wrong. Some of these level names are really wacky. Flub Fuel's Scrub Pens is on also another level where it crashed on the chanting, and the loading dock is also a level where it just crashed on the chanting. So there's a point where you might chant and it will just crash. So, and it was always the same spot, so it's obviously a bug with these levels. There was a big glitch, like a big crashing. I wasn't sure I would even be able to complete the game. It was a part where you had to shoot with about 10 Madokans or something. It's, I haven't actually written it down, the level. Why the fuck didn't I write it down? Be right back. I haven't written it down there either. I screen capped the levels that they crashed on. Vickers Labs, I think. Vickers Labs. It's basically the end level where you have to save the Madokans and they get transformed into shooters. And there's a point where you pull switches with them and the gate lowers, and there's loads of those like big armoured things with the not machetes, the meat cleavers. I got meat cleavers, and you Reduckers have to shoot them. It kept crashing here all the time. All the time. Get 'em. Yeah! And it would crash. Load again. Get 'em. Yeah! A bit further this time. Then it would crash. Just kept booting me out of the game. The game would just close. This happened about 7 times. And I was like, right, I need to do this to progress. There's no other option. These guys need to die because I need to pull a switch in this room and do a load of stuff, and I can't do it with these around. They need to die. It's what has to happen. So it got to the point where, because they come at you, they come out of the room, they get past the Madokans, and they come at you, and a couple of hits from them and you die, basically. So there's some ledges at the side, like steps, that you can stand on and they can't get you. But this would crash also. So I started to get to the point where I'd jump up there when they were shooting, save it. It would crash like a little bit later. I would load it and then I would just try a different position in the level. I would try a different angle of the camera just in case it was the camera angle making it crash. And eventually I got through it. I just had to get lucky that they made a bit of progress and it didn't crash. I could save it and then continue from there. But yeah, this part just kept crashing, and this is a part you cannot avoid. You need to do it to get past, basically. So this was a fucking issue. It was damn annoying because this obviously don't happen on the console version, but the mobile, yeah, these levels, they crash all the time. The jumping is still an issue. I don't know why they made them jump the way they do. It's so aggravating. I used to find it aggravating. I still find it aggravating. It's just not good. Why did they have to make them bounce when they land? Why is that a thing they decided to do? It's just not okay. You're just trying to land in one spot. Say you're trying to jump Munch out of the water to land on a tiny ledge to get rid of those big fucking armoured sligs. I love them, aren't they great? Some of those sections where you've got to run down the corridors and stuff and avoid their fire. It's just really, really chaotic and fun and really like stressing, but in a good way. But yeah, trying to get Munch to jump out onto these tiny little ledges. They're just enough to stand one of these sligs on. So jumping him out onto that when he bounces a little bit when he lands, it's just not convenient. I don't know why they were happy with that jumping method. It's just so bad. It just makes jumping so hard to pull off. Like, it's just such a bad game mechanic. It's like he lands and he bounces around like a ball. It's like, this is not convenient. Just land and stick where you fucking land. Why do you have to bounce around like a fucking rubber ball? I don't understand it. I don't get it at all. And they both do it. Abe's the worst because he's so fucking fast. But Munch does it in a really slow fucking aggravating way. But yeah, you get through it eventually, but holy shit. It's just really, really bad. Land there and bounce around a bit. It's just so bizarre. The amount of times I've made a jump and he's bounced and fucking fell off where he needs to land. Just stick. Stick to where you fucking land. Why do you need to bounce? So, yes. Still fucking hate the jumping. This is one thing that put me off downloading it on mobile because I thought, yeah, I remember how fucking hard it was to make him land anywhere when he jumps. Jesus Christ, imagine that on the mobile. But I got through it. I think it worked reasonably well. The buttons are a little bit get in the way of each other, don't work half the time. But there's ways around that part. Like I say, drag the screen down slightly and bring up the menu without leaving the game. It's the best way to do it. It's quick, it works. As long as you don't put it down too much, it works really well. It's better than hammering the button 15 billion times and then finally fucking getting the menu up. The walking and stuff button, I did get it to work, but it's a similar thing. You press it a few times, it don't respond. So I love the way that Abe is animated in this game. It's a bit Mr. Bean. The way he moves sometimes, it's a little bit Mr. Bean, which I think is really quite funny. The way he stands and leans and stuff, it's just the way he walks in general, it just reminds me of Mr. Bean. So So still love it. I still think the humour is fantastic. It still makes me laugh. It still holds up today. It's a humour that just ages really well, I think. I've watched some things that I used to find funny and now I just like, oh God, it's so awful. Why did I find that funny? Let's take a moment to highlight this beautiful specimen of a woman. Here she is. I mean, I just love the effort she's made. Look at the lipstick and everything. She made a fucking effort to come out to this auction. God bless her soul. She might be fugly, but she puts some lipstick on and makes a fucking effort, you know? Yeah, I like Lulu at the end where he goes, no, there's birds going crazy because it's just echoed across the entire land. The talker's like, you hear that? What's coming from? Somebody's really pissed off. I just like the language in this game. The language and the attitude of the Mudokons. I just love it so much. It's so charming. I just think it's such a charming game. Marcus didn't like the sound of it. Sometimes I'm like, the sound is what makes this game, it's what makes the game stand out, is the sound design. It's a little bit loud, yes. I just think the sound design is so excellent and so original and so interesting. Even now I'm like, it's just such a great game. Yes, it's very loud. Snooky. That was my chanting orb impression. I thought it was really good. Hey, butt wipe. Kiss my ass. I always thought the sligs sounded like Beetlejuice. They still do. Like, it just sounds like Beetlejuice, and that's fucking excellent. You know, Beetlejuice has a really great voice. Just love it. I love the sligs. Really fantastic. So it's still a really great game, and I was quite impressed with how good it felt. Like, yeah, the buttons got in the way of each other. They didn't work too well, but I still managed to play it, and I did think, well, I want to give up on this because it's so incredibly stressful. It's just the game is just finicky and hard to work sometimes, and it's always been that way, even on the controller. I just think it could have been maybe made a little bit better. That's another thing. I just lucky I thought about this, because that's another thing. I found that if you're having to turn quite aggressively, if you want to quickly run to the left, sort of like curve, you're running forward and you have to curve quickly to the left, a lot of the time he'll just stop. He'll just stop in place. Like your thumb, it can't understand that movement of your thumb, and it's like it just stops. Often I found that a situation that was quite bad. They just stopped where you just couldn't get the natural movement that you needed with your thumb. It was like you took your thumb off for a brief second. So parts of it really don't work as a thumb game. But I really didn't find the controls too infuriating. I found them about as bad as they were originally. Because yes, the controls aren't the best. They're really not the best. Simply the best? No, not these. Not at all. So yeah, but if you love Munch's Oddysee, I would definitely recommend it on the phone. It is a little bit harder, but it's not terribly unplayable. I generally got on with it quite well, and with the quick save option, being able to just drag it down quickly, it's quite efficient to save and load. So you fuck up, just quick load it. It's not really an issue. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised actually. I thought it would be absolutely horrendous to play, and it wasn't that bad. So yeah, so I had a lot of fun playing this game again. One thing I really dislike, I always hated it, is the egg part of the game, where you have to save the eggs. You have to put the eggs into the chute, because it's very, very particular. I remember the crane. If you rush the crane, you can drop the eggs outside the well. So incredibly easy. But there's a good percentage of this game where you're just having to put eggs into a chute. It's so tedious. Holy shit, and it's so easy to fuck it up as well. It takes extra time because you're having to double make sure you're in the right place. I really hate the egg part of this. It's so boring. I just really hate it so much. So I think I just lost 3 fuzzles. I think I did quite well. I saved all the Mudokons, I think. Just a few fuzzles were lost because I just couldn't save them. I couldn't help them. I think next time I play, I just think I'll know things a little bit better and I'll be able to do a better performance. But yeah, really great. Hard in places, very, very fucking hard in places, but Not impossible by any means. Anyway, gonna go. Thanks for watching, and yeah, I really liked it. I do recommend it if you're a fan of Munch. I think it's pretty good. Other than the place where it crashes. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Thanks guys for watching. Bye now.